What if love begins not with confessions, not with intense emotions or grand promises, but with duty, silence, and the inevitability of fate? This is precisely the story told to viewers by one of the most heartfelt and profound Turkish series, Sevdiğim Sensin. It is not just a romantic drama, but a deeply moving story about people whose destinies intertwine against their will, about feelings that are born slowly, endure trials, and last forever. A story born from silence. The series takes us into a world where two completely different lives, characters, and worldviews collide. Erkan is a young man from a big city. He is accustomed to order, discipline, and strict rules. Reserved and rational, he always relies on reason rather than emotions. Military service becomes not just a duty for him, but a turning point that changes his entire life and leads him to a distant region where entirely different laws prevail. Dijle is the complete opposite of Erkan. She grew up in the mountains, far from the bustle of the city, in a world of traditions and strict family rules. Modest, quiet, and pure-hearted, she has lived under her brother's control since childhood, without the right to make her own decisions. She cannot read or write, knows no other life, and does not dare to dream of happiness. Her existence is one of submission to fate and devotion to her family. Their first meeting lacks any romance. There is no spark between them, no mutual attraction, only awkwardness, distance, and misunderstanding. They seem to belong to different worlds that were never meant to cross. But fate decides otherwise. A marriage without love. Circumstances bring Erkan and Dijle into a forced marriage. This decision is driven not by feelings, but by duty, necessity, and the pressure of tradition. There is no love in their home. No warmth. Only silence. They live side by side, yet each remains alone with their fears and doubts. Erkan does not know how to be a husband to a woman for whom he feels nothing. Dijle, meanwhile, does not know whether she has the right to desire more than what she has been allowed. However, time slowly begins to break down the walls between them. Accidental glances, cautious words, quiet care for one another, and silent presence gradually change their relationship. Erkan begins to see in Dijle not an obligation, but a person with a vulnerable heart and a difficult fate. Dijle, for the first time, experiences respect and attention she has never known before. Thus, a feeling is born between them, quiet, deep, and genuine. Love does not come suddenly. It emerges from patience, understanding, and mutual support. The beginning of a dramatic story. The events of the series unfold with tension from the very first episodes. During his service, Erkan meets Dijle, who lives in poverty with her seriously ill mother in a half-ruined house. Shocked by the conditions of her life and her submission to fate, he tries to help her. But their meeting becomes the beginning of dangerous events. One night, armed men come to Dijle's house intending to abduct her. Without hesitation, Erkan steps in to protect her. A fierce gunfight breaks out. He is seriously wounded, risking his own life for a girl he barely knows. At that moment, their destinies become inseparably bound. This act marks the beginning of a difficult journey, a path through fear, trials, social pressure, and the inner struggles of each of them. Trials that change hearts. Fate gives the heroes no peace. Their relationship constantly faces challenges, interference from others, pressure of traditions, fear of the past, and their own doubts threaten their fragile happiness. Erkan must choose between duty and the voice of his heart. Dijle must choose between submission and her right to personal happiness. Every decision requires courage. Every mistake may destroy everything that is only just beginning to grow between them. Yet through suffering and trials, the heroes gradually come to understand the most important truth, that love lies not in words, but in the willingness to stay by each other's side no matter what. Acting and atmosphere of the series. One of the project's main strengths is its powerful cast. Atac Sazmaz as Erkan and Helen Kandemir as Dijle create deep and vivid characters filled with sincere emotion. Their performances are subtle and natural, sometimes a single glance or a brief pause conveys more than long dialogues. The series captivates viewers with its atmosphere, calm music, realistic storytelling, the contrast between urban and rural life, and the deep psychological portrayal of its characters make the story especially truthful and relatable. This is not a story of intense passions, it is a story of quiet feelings lived together with the characters. The main idea of the story. Sevdiğim Sensin reminds viewers of simple yet important truths. Love does not always begin beautifully. Sometimes it is born from duty and hardship. True feelings require time, patience, and choice. This is a story about fate, inner strength, the right to be heard, and a love that arrives when it is least expected. That is why the series touches the heart, because it contains no artificial drama, but life in all its complexity, pain, and beauty.